Graham here. Big thank you to everybody who's been joining me on this journey, and I want to mention Macmillan Trust, the ones who have been caring for me and taking me through this journey, and still do care for me and still have those regular conversations, whether I need it or not. They're there. I have access to them all the time. Thank you, Macmillan. You are fantastic. So let's go back to episode 6 and what I was talking about, and also episode 7. This was all about the biopsy and how I was dealing with it. The last episode we talked about, it was done, it was out there, and the information was now ready to be told to me in a way that I could probably deal with it. Now you don't prepare yourself because you don't know what you're going to be told. But I walked into that office, and bear in mind my wife was in the waiting room, so I thought it was just a quick informal chat, and that would be it. Biopsy over, little informal chat, go home, and we'll contact you for the next thing. But no, this was come in, sit down, I'm going to show you the results of your first scan in high definition. You're going to see it all in its raw form. You're going to see what had happened to your prostate, the affected area, how it actually managed to work itself out of the prostate and work around into areas that they were very concerned about. And it was at the point where that became very, very real, that this anomaly has grown inside of me for I don't know how many numbers of years. It takes quite a bit of time to go from T1 to T4, but the reality had dropped. So this wonderful person sat me down and said, look, here's the results of your first scan, and beautiful high definition picture. There's the prostate, there's your bone structure around it, and you could clearly see it was like the dark side of the moon. The prostate's like a little chestnut, and there was probably a good 70% which was affected. But you could also see it actually burst out, and there was a cloud surrounding areas of other organs, and very, 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 very close to the bone. And this is what really concerned them. I was told we were at stage 3, they call it T3, not T4. T4 is terminal, so T3 stroke T3.5, I guess, because of the closeness to the bone. And once it goes into the bone or actually infects into other organs, you're talking a different story then. But this was a little bit of concern for them, and they were talking quite quickly to tell me, don't worry, there are now things we understand which we can then now move. And that became the fast track process for me and them. The relationship between me and them was now on a very straight fast track course, a course of treatment, a course of action. And I was reassured at every point that you're going to be okay, and we'll deal with this, and we'll know more information once we do the MRI. And the MRI would then clearly tell me exactly, if it had already affected the bone, because what I was looking at that time was a high definition, but it didn't clearly show it looked like it was right on the bone, but they couldn't tell if it was actually infected into the bone. And this is what they were going to do next, determine whether, the T3.5 or T4 was the next course of action. So based on that information, my wife joined us, and we had that next conversation of, a little bit about the treatment process. And this is where I started to feel, okay, I'm confident that I'm now being, or the what was inside me was now being, there was a counterattack. There was a course of action that was going to now start fighting what was fighting me in my body. And what was told very quickly is that we now have to, suppress your testosterone, and they are testosterone blockers they give you. And it was given to me there and then. It was, right, this is what we're going to do. Immediately we have to start fighting back with this cancer and suppress it and stop it continuing to grow. Once you stop it and reduce it, and then the next stage would obviously to kill it off, or that's wrong to say kill it off, it's they put it into a dormant state. That's what they do, and it becomes dormant to a degree where it has no capability of growing. So bear in mind, the physical side of me was now being dealt with. There will be a war raged inside of me, but then always remember, what happens in there is not particularly what happens in your head. And we'll go on and talk about that, because the information I've gleaned from this unlocks another process in your head that is somewhat comforting, because the fight had begun, and you're building your mental strength back up to say, yeah, okay, I'm ready now to understand this whole process and how I'm going to fight it mentally. But bear in mind, there was one clear doubt yet to understand whether it had gone into the bone and it had actually affected other organs, because they didn't have that information yet. All they knew clearly was that the state of the prostate, and what happened to the prostate. Now, one of the questions I had was, well, is there any other way to fight this battle with the cancer? And that information was made available to me as well. Well, we can cut it all out. We can take it all out, or we can suppress it and put it into a dormant state. And after careful consideration, it was, and this was probably a discussion we had later on, is they didn't feel if they operated that they would be able to get all the cancer out. And because of my age, they believed if I went through the course of the blockers, testosterone blockers, suppressing the cancer, it decreasing, and then going through the radiotherapy, that would be a much more successful outcome for me because of my age, and I had the ability to deal with it better. So I hope that bit of information has been helpful for you. On the next one, I'm going to talk about how we had a conversation downstairs on the same day, which was really quite shocking. What, you're going to get more information? No, it was how they felt we should be reacting. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm so happy to be telling this story, and a big shout out to Macmillan Trust. Take care, and I'll see you next time.